Hello, everyone. Hi, English readers, and welcome to this live read along of Wuthering Heights. This is our second week of reading Wuthering Heights from Emily Bronte. And today we are reading chapter 7, Catherine's Last Goodbye. So before I get started with the reading of the chapter, I'm going to do a quick recap of what happened before so that you're all up to date. And also, I want to just explain what I'm doing. So I'm Lydie Bureau and I'm an English teacher in France, and I love teaching English through the perspective of a story and put the English learning into context and make it fun way as well to learn English, or at least I want to immerse people in a story, and this way allow them to learn, and this way they can learn English. Hi, hello, Yusuf. Welcome to this live of Wuthering Heights. I don't know if you've read this novel before, but it's considered as one of the a classic of English literature, and I found personally this novel beautiful. Hi, welcome. I've noticed that you've just I'm happy that you have joined this live. Are you an English teacher? Are you a student? Tell me a little bit about yourself and where you're from as well. So it's considered as an English classic, a classic of English literature, and I also like the story because it is a very passionate story between two characters. It's a little bit of love and hate, and um, and um, and this is what makes the story beautiful. Hello, Rafael. And I really also like the it's a very dark story as well. So it's not like a happy ending romantic story, but it is quite a strong relationship between Catherine and Heathcliff, um, and the character of Catherine is also a very strong female character. So this is why I love this story as well. And it's written by a woman, so it says a lot already. So this is also another reason why I love this story, and this book. So the story is about so as I was saying, it's a tormented love story between Catherine and Heathcliff. I am a student. I'm from Egypt, but I study in the UK. I love literature and reading in general. I have tried to read Wuthering Heights before on my own. I guess that's what you want to say, but never managed to finish it. Okay, well, this is it. This is your time. Hi, hello, Vinny. Um, yes, this, I don't know if you've got this novel, Yusuf, but this is probably the novel that you, the original story of Wuthering Heights. that you probably bought. And it's not an easy read because it's English, it's the 19th century English, and also the style is of the sentences are quite and the structures of the sentences are quite complex as well. So that's probably one of the reasons why it was a little bit difficult for you to read this book. So if you're already if you're studying in the UK, then you might find this adaptation a little bit easier, a little bit too easy for you, but it's a start, maybe. This adaptation of Wuthering Heights is aimed at B1 English learners. So if you're above, then you're going to find it very easy, but it can be a starting point for you, and then you can move on maybe to another adaptation of Wuthering Heights that is maybe in between, because you have um, um, adaptations of modern English of this novel. I don't have one to give you as an example, but I'm sure that if you find Wuthering Heights simplified or easy read Wuthering Heights, maybe you might find adaptations of this book that has a little bit more details than this one. But I mean, everything is good. So and it's also this book club is also a way for you to practice your speaking in English, your speaking as well, and allow you, hi Cathy, and allow you to give your opinion and think a little bit further on about a character and a story. So if you want to join the book club, please do it. We meet live on Zoom every Saturday, and this is where you will have the chance to be able to practice your speaking, because I'm doing the reading of the chapters over the week, and then on Saturday we discuss the chapters. And sometimes we start chatting about books. So that's the concept of my book club, so that it's maybe a bit more clear for you. And if you have any more questions, please send your questions in the comments or on private messages. I'll be happy to answer you. So let's go back to the story. So there is this new tenant. A tenant is someone that rents a place. So you're not the landlord. It's not your house. You pay money to a landlord to stay in the house. So Mr. Lockwood is the new tenant of Thrushcross Grange, which is a house that is near Wuthering Heights. And Wuthering Heights is the name of the second house, a second house that is close to Thrushcross Grange, and it is owned by Mr. Heathcliff, who is also the owner of Thrushcross Grange. So Mr. Heathcliff is a rich man because he owns two houses, and one he lives in Wuthering Heights and he rents Thrushcross Grange to tenants. So this new tenant arrives, Mr. Lockwood, in Yorkshire. So the story is based in Yorkshire, England. So it's the north of England. Maybe you've been there already, Youssef. So it's Mr. Lockwood arrives in Thrushcross Grange, and he wants to introduce himself to Mr. Heathcliff, his landlord, but he doesn't get the nice welcome that he was expecting. Instead, Mr. Heathcliff reveals um, he's quite a very rude and aggressive man, quite violent as well with the people that live with him, and Mr. Lockwood is going to be quite shocked and intrigued by this man, and he's going to ask his housekeeper, Nelly, the housekeeper of Thrushcross Grange, to tell him more about him and about his story and why he's so mean, such a mean person. So she's going to start telling Mr. Heathcliff's story, and this is where we have a second narrator in the story. So first we have Mr. Lockwood starting, who is the overall narrator of the story, and then we have a second story within the story told by Nelly, the story of Mr. Heathcliff and all the other members, because there are a lot of characters in this story, so I hope you're not going to get confused. Maybe that's the reason why you got confused. I don't know, but but there is a lot of characters. So yeah, Nelly is going to start telling the story of Mr. Heathcliff, and this is why we classify this story as a Gothic story, because it's a narrative within a narrative. So there are different narrative frame within one story. So, and that's one point. So the different stories within the story, and also the fact that there are ghost and supernatural elements in the story. So that's why this is called a Gothic story. And Nelly's gonna start the story of Mr. Heathcliff, as I was saying before. And we learn that he's been adopted by the Earnshaw family. And in the Earnshaw family, there is Catherine and Hindley, the two children, and they are going to react very differently to the new coming of this little boy. So Catherine is going to be very happy, and she's going to get on very well with Heathcliff, but Hindley, the brother, he's not going to like him, and he's going to be very mean to him. He's going to beat him and make him suffer. So that's the very kind of the upbringing, kind of the kind of atmosphere in which Heathcliff gets in when he arrives in this family. And then Mr. Hindley, hi Melissa, and after that the Catherine and Hindley's parents are going to die, and Hindley is going to come back because he's been sent away to college because Mr. Earnshaw learned that he was beating Heathcliff. So he's going to send him away to college so that Heathcliff will be safe and he's not going to be hurt anymore. But on the death of Mr. Earnshaw, Hindley is going to be back. So a couple years later, and Hindley is going to be back and he's going to become the owner of Wuthering Heights. I'm good, thank you. And you, how are you? And he's going to treat Heathcliff very badly and consider him as a servant. Hi, hello. And he's going to, and again, Heathcliff, he's going to start being the cause of all the pain, of all Hindley's pain, and he's going to have his revenge on Heathcliff. So violence again is going to be very present when again when Hindley is going to be back. So that's when Hindley is comes back, and he doesn't come back alone. He comes back with his wife, with a wife, Frances, who is going to give birth to a little boy called Hareton. And unfortunately, Frances is going to die while she is giving birth to maybe a little bit, a couple days later after giving birth, she's going to die. So that's going to devastate Hindley, and he's going to start drinking and being even more awful with people in the house. Not only on peut parler français. No, I'm sorry, no, this is not a live in French today. Yeah, but it's good for your English. You can practice your English this way. So it's going to be devastating for Hindley, and he's going to kind of give up on his son and not really care about his son. So it's Nelly, because Nelly used to live in Wuthering Heights in the past, and she will take care of the little boy as if it was her own son. So this is what happens about Hindley. And then we have on the other side Catherine and Heathcliff's story, in which Catherine is going to on one day, Catherine is going to confide in Nelly because she's living at Wuthering Heights as well, and she is going to have a conversation with her, a private conversation. And in this conversation, she's going to reveal that, unfortunately, because Heathcliff is not rich, she is and doesn't have a title, she will never marry him. She will never be able to marry him. So Heathcliff is going to hear that conversation, and he's going to be heartbroken about learning about this, and he's going to leave. After that, he's going to leave Wuthering Heights, and Catherine is going to be very sad, and she will feel guilty about the fact that she said that. And she's going to wait for him to come back. She's going to look for him, but she is going to find out that he's really gone. And after 3 years of being gone, Catherine is going to be asked in marriage by Mr. Edgar Linton, who is a neighbor, and he lives in Thrushcross Grange, the house that is nearby. And he's going to propose Catherine. And she's going to accept his hand. And they're going to marry. They will marry. And Catherine will move out from Wuthering Heights to live with Edgar Linton at Thrushcross Grange. And Edgar will ask Nelly, the housekeeper of Wuthering Heights at the time, to move in with them and be the housekeeper of Thrushcross Grange. So Nelly will be, she's going to feel really bad about leaving Hareton, the little boy, leaving this little boy in this madhouse, very dark atmosphere in this house. But Edgar Linton offers her a lot of money, or at least good money for her work. So she will take his offer and start working for him. And she will be she's going to be saddened by her decision to live the Wuthering Heights, but she won't have any other choice. And she cannot bear Mr. Hindley's behavior and attitude and his violence towards her. And she doesn't want to live in that house anymore because it's not a warm and welcoming house. It's very cold, and Hindley is a very difficult person now that is only drinking and grieving his wife. He is completely is full of hate and anger of the loss of his wife. So she will live this house. And then 3 years later as well, at this time, when after a couple months maybe after they get married, who's back? Heathcliff is back at Wuthering Heights, and he's back, but as a new man, because now he's a gentleman. He is a rich man. So over those 3 years that he was gone, we don't really know how he got rich. That was yesterday's chapter. There are not much details here in the book, and I can't remember. I think that he maybe earned his money through trading, or maybe as a farm worker. I don't know. I'm not sure. I can't quite remember how he got rich, but he's back in Yorkshire, and he is, or at least at Wuthering Heights, and he is rich, and he starts, and Catherine is over the moon, of course, seeing him back, and they're gonna start spending a lot of time together as they used to when they were younger. And Mr. Linton, Edgar Linton, is not gonna like it very much. And the other thing that he's not gonna like it is that his sister, Isabella, is going to feel quite attracted to Heathcliff, and she's going to start having feelings for him. And this is where we left off yesterday. They are going to run away together. So on a morning, it's Nelly who tells Mr. Linton that someone saw her sister Isabella running away in the morning, in the very early morning. I think it was in the morning or dark. It was still dark. Yeah. Running away with Mr. Heathcliff, and we don't really know where they went, where they went. And Edgar Linton is going to feel really helpless. He's going to feel so helpless and resigned to see that the worst that he could have imagined just happened, because he really did not want her sister to marry him, because he knows him. He knows that Heathcliff has a very dark side, and as we read it yesterday, he is back, but only to get his revenge from Catherine, who, as he said, betrayed her, and because she married someone else. And we know that Catherine, in secret, loves him, loves Heathcliff, and not well, she loves Edgar, but not as much as she loves Heathcliff. So Heathcliff knows that, and he's going to have his revenge on Catherine and marry Isabella. So does he really love Isabella? Probably not. So let's find out now what happens. So chapter 7, Catherine's last goodbye. So let's read. It was a dark winter's night, and we were both sitting in front of the fire at Thrushcross Grange. I was feeling a little bit better, but I was still weak. Nelly continued to tell me her story. So that's Mr. Lockwood's little input into the narrative of the story, and is quite sick since he got back from Wuthering Heights, from visiting Mr. Heathcliff. It's a very harsh environment, Yorkshire in the 19th century. It's a very isolated place, and it's cold. We're in the middle of winter, and it's very cold. It's snowing, and the houses are not well, at the time. You didn't have heating, and only the fireplace, and it was very hard to warm those big houses. So it was very hard to get to warm you up in those places. And it's very windy as well on the moor. This particular landscape in Yorkshire, in the north of England, full of hills and very green, a couple of trees, and a lot of wind as well. So now let's continue. Mr. Heathcliff and Miss Linton stayed away for 6 weeks. During that time, Catherine became very ill. But Mr. Linton stayed with her and nursed her day and night. And by March, she had slowly started to get better. Finally, she was able to leave her bedroom and come downstairs. I lit a fire for her, and she sat in a chair by the window staring out at the moor. 4 weeks after they had left, Isabella wrote a short note to her brother. It told him that she and Heathcliff were married. Edgar did not reply. Then, 2 weeks after that, I got a longer letter from her. Dear Nelly, 5 days ago, I came to Wuthering Heights and heard that Catherine is ill. I hope that she is getting better. Nelly, I miss Edgar and want to see his face again more than anything. As soon as I left Thrushcross Grange, I wanted to come back. Nelly, how did you live at Wuthering Heights? And who is Heathcliff? Is he a man? It was evening when Heathcliff and I arrived at Wuthering Heights. Joseph came out. What a rude man! Joseph is a farm worker. A farm worker at Wuthering Heights. The first thing he did was lift a lantern up to my face, and then he gave me an angry look and turned away. He took our horses, and Heathcliff stayed to talk to him while I entered the house. What a bare and dirty place! On my first night here, Heathcliff left me at the house and went out. Joseph and Hareton, remember Hareton is Hindley's little son? Joseph and Hareton would not show me to our bedroom because Mr. Heathcliff had the key. I had to sleep in a chair in the kitchen until Heathcliff woke me in the morning. He had learned that Catherine was ill. He said she was ill because of my brother. He hates Edgar because Edgar married Catherine, and he wants to make me unhappy and hurt me so that he hurts Edgar. So you can see here the wicked and twisted mind of Heathcliff and how full of darkness he is. I am now living here. I have met Hindley Earnshaw, who drinks too much and seems unhappy and crazy. He hates Heathcliff and says it is because Heathcliff has taken his money from him. His son, oh yes, I forgot that. So many things. So when Heathcliff got back, I told you he is a rich man. He came back as a rich man, and he did a bet with Hindley, and they were playing cards, and they did a bet, and Hindley lost the game, and the bet was Wuthering Heights. So Heathcliff won the game and became the new owner of Wuthering Heights. So that's why Hindley is now angry. So I guess Heathcliff kindly left Hindley stay there in the house because it doesn't have anywhere else to go. He hates Heathcliff and says it is because Heathcliff has taken his money from him. His son, Hareton, is rough and wild. So quite a similar description to Heathcliff. Nelly, I hate Heathcliff. I've been stupid and I am so unhappy. Please do not tell anyone at Thrushcross Grange what has happened. Yours, Isabella. As soon as I got this letter, I went to see Mr. Linton and told him that his sister was at Wuthering Heights. She wants she wants she wants you to forgive her, I said. Forgive her? Shouted Mr. Linton. I cannot forgive her, Nelly, and I do not want to see her. Can't you just write her a little note, sir? I asked. No, he answered. I do not want to talk to anyone in Heathcliff's family. On the Sunday that followed Isabella and Heathcliff, oh, sorry, Heathcliff's return, all the family and servants, except Catherine, went to church. Although it was early spring, the weather was warm, so I left the doors open. Catherine sat next to the window in her bedroom in a long white dress, with her thick hair over her shoulders. Being ill had made her different. She was calm, and her eyes were dreamy and sad. Suddenly there was the sound of feet entering the hall below. Catherine quickly turned and looked towards the door with excited eyes. He did not find the room immediately, but walked up and down until she asked me to let him in. The next second he was by her side and holding her in his arms. Well, you can guess whose that is. Oh, Catherine, oh, you're my life, he cried. What will happen now, Heathcliff? What will happen now, Heathcliff? She replied. You and Edgar have broken my heart. I'm not sorry for you. You have killed me, and you're happy because of it. You're so well and strong. How many years will you live after I've gone? You can see a little picture here illustrating that's Nelly here. And you can see the very dark and angry face of Heathcliff, and that's Catherine lying down on the bed. Heathcliff held her closer. Then he tried to rise, but she caught his hair and in her hand and pulled him down. I wish that I could hold you until we were both dead, she cried. I don't care about your pain. Will you forget me? Will you be happy when I'm under the ground? Will you love another woman and have many children? And in 20 years, will you come to my grave and say, there lies Catherine Earnshaw. I loved her once and was sorry to lose her. But she was gone. She has gone now. Would you say this, Heathcliff? You will make me as mad as you, he shouted, pulling his head away. How can you talk like that? Don't you realize I will always remember these words? I have not killed you. You have killed yourself. Oh, Catherine, why did you betray your own heart? And suddenly her arm was around his neck and her face was against his, and they were both crying. Why did you marry Linton, Catherine? He went on. Yes, you can kiss me and make me kiss you and cry. You loved me. So why did you live for him? Oh, sorry. Yes, he went on. Yes, you can kiss me and make me kiss you and cry. You loved me. So why did you leave me for him and your weak love? No one could part us, but you did. I have not broken your heart. You have broken it. And now mine is broken too. What kind of life will I have without you in it? Let me go, cried Catherine. If I have done something wrong, then I am dying for it now. You left me too, but I am not angry with you. Forgive me. It is hard to forgive and look into these eyes and feel these thin hands, he answered. Kiss me again and don't let me see your eyes. I forgive you for what you have done to me." They were quiet then, their faces together and wet from crying. I watched them worriedly. It was late afternoon now. Mr. Linton, Mr. Linton, will be home from church soon? I said. Heathcliff groaned, but Catherine was quiet and never moved. Suddenly, I saw the servants and Mr. Linton walking towards Thrushcross Grange. "He is here now," I shouted. "Please go. Go out of the back. Go out of the back door. You won't meet anyone if you go that way." "I must go, Catherine," said Heathcliff, and he tried to pull himself away from her. "But I will be under your window all night. I will not leave you." "You must not go," she answered, and she held him against her. "You shall not. I will die, Heathcliff. I will die." Then her head fell back, and her arms dropped to the floor. At that moment, Mr. Linton entered the room. When he saw Heathcliff, Mr. Linton's face was very angry. But he quickly took his wife in his arms. "I will go," Heathcliff said, "but I will stay in the garden, under the trees. Nelly, please bring me news of her, or I will come back. I don't care if Linton is here or not." At midnight, Cathy, who you met at Wuthering Heights, was born. Oh, yes, she was pregnant too. So she gave birth to Cathy, the little Cathy that we meet at the beginning of the story. The little Cathy that lives with Heathcliff now. She was very small and was born 2 months early. 2 hours after that, her mother died. So again, a second death of a mother in birth. So as you can see, it would happen quite often that women would die while they give birth. Edgar was filled with grief, and he was always a sad man after that, same as Inlay. He was sad because of Catherine's death, of course, but also because Cathy was a daughter, not a son. Cathy will have no control over her life when she gets married, Edgar thought sadly. When I die, the house and her money will belong to her husband. So a man will always own Thrushcross Grange. The following morning was sunny. Mr. Linton lay quietly next to his wife's body. I went outside quietly and found Mr. Heathcliff standing under the trees in the gardens with his hat on his hand. As I walked towards him, he lifted his dark eyes and looked at me. "She's dead," he said. "I've not waited here for hours for you to tell me. She's dead. She's dead," he said. "I've not waited here for hours for you to tell me that." "Don't cry, Nelly. She doesn't want you to cry." But I was crying for him too. "Cuckoo, hey." "Yes, she's dead," I replied. "And did she ever say my name?" "She did not wake up again after you left," I replied. "Now she lies with a sweet smile on her face. I hope she wakes happily in heaven." He hit his head against the tree, then, and growled like a wild animal. When he looked up, he had blood on his face. Then he kicked the ground hard with his foot. "I cannot live without my life," he screamed. "I can I cannot live without my soul. Catherine Linton's funeral was on the Friday after her death. Hindley did not come, and Isabella was not asked to come. Catherine was buried near a low wall next to the moor that she loved. This is a sad chapter here. So tell me your thoughts on this chapter. How do you feel about first Isabella's remorse on marrying Heathcliff and regrets of marrying him, and how do you feel about the last? It's the beauty and the sadness of their story here, really. And as you can read, I cannot live without my life. So he considers Catherine as his life, his soul, because as we know, both of them are just one person and one soul. So the fact that now she's gone, and finally here they are being honest to each other, but it's only when people are dying that people are really saying their true feelings. This is what's so annoying as well. Poor Isabella, I felt very sorry for her too. And also she's very young when she marries him. She's only 18, and she doesn't really know the real Heathcliff when she falls in love with him, and she doesn't really listen probably to her brother, and she's just blinded. She's blinded by his his wealth and his nice clothes, and his very polite and gentlemanly attitude. I don't know, but he's very polite, and he's got good manners. Now he is a gentleman. So still a child. Still a child. And charming. Yes, it is charming as well. And there are so many deep feelings between these two. And and his plea for forgiveness as well. Her plea, sorry, is she asks to be forgiven by Heathcliff, and finally he forgives her. Well, in the face of death, everything goes away. All the hard feelings, all the hate and the revenge that Heathcliff had in him just is just it doesn't matter anymore, because now she's dying, and there is nothing left. So here it was. That was chapter 7, and the end of Catherine's character. So let's see now how Heathcliff is going to carry on living without her. That's going to be interesting. And tomorrow we will read chapter 8. That seems to be about Isabella. Isabella escapes. So maybe it seems like Isabella is going to make some big decision in next chapter. So thank you so much for listening this live reading. Welcome to you, Youssef. And as I was saying, if you're interested in practicing your English and improving your English while my heart is so heavy. Yeah. Yes, if you're happy, yeah, you're welcome. Yeah. This is why I love stories. I love this. I love literature and especially, yeah, being immersed in this story and live and having this experience with these two characters and be embarked in the story with these two characters. This is the power of stories, and I love it. So yes, Youssef, if you want to improve your English and keep and continue the conversation of Wuthering Heights and tell us more about how you feel about the story, then please join us. By all means, please join us in the book club, and we'll be happy to have you. So that's it for me tonight, and I will see you on and see you tomorrow at 4 p.m. No, not at 4. Sorry, at 2 p.m. CET. On Wednesdays, their lives are a little bit earlier, much earlier than the rest of the week. So I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.